Hey Raiders Nation! Today we are breaking down some of the most compelling stories surrounding our Las Vegas Raiders as we head into the final stretch of the season. There's a lot happening behind the scenes with this team, and I want to give you the perspective that goes beyond what you see on game day. Now, we all know Max Crosby has been a cornerstone of this franchise, a player who has left everything on the field and continues to embody the heart and soul of the Raiders. But as the season winds down, questions start creeping in about the future of our roster, particularly when it comes to the dynamics around Max and what could happen in the offseason. Let's be clear, Max Crosby has made it abundantly obvious that he wants to be a Raider for life, and I know for a fact that the organization wants the same thing. The challenge, though, is that the NFL operates not just on loyalty or desire, but on contracts, draft capital, and a long-term vision for building a winning team. And if you followed this team closely, you know that there are financial nuances in Max's contract that could make a trade a possibility in 2026 or 2027, even if no one wants it to happen. The front-loading of his deal and the structure of the guaranteed money is something that could influence decisions significantly. And in a league where every dollar counts, following the money is often where you find the real story. Now, let's take a closer look at the context here. If the Raiders finish strong and pull off wins against teams like the New York Giants and the Kansas City Chiefs, it changes a lot of things. On the surface, fans want wins, right? Of course, nobody is cheering for losses. But when it comes to building a team for the future, winning these particular games might actually limit the organization's ability to secure top draft picks. And when draft picks are the currency for acquiring young talent to build around, especially at critical positions like quarterback, those wins carry a weight that goes beyond the immediate scoreboard. Consider this scenario. By winning these games, the Raiders might be looking at a pick outside the top 5 in the draft. That can seriously impact their ability to acquire elite talent, whether it's a quarterback or players to fill the many roster holes that exist across offense, defense, and special teams. Max Crosby is one of the few players on this team whose value is not tied to a rookie contract, making him potentially the most tradable asset in a full-scale rebuild. His skill, experience, and age make him highly valuable on the market, but also central to the Raiders' current identity. This creates a delicate balancing act. Do you prioritize short-term wins, or do you position yourself to build a roster capable of sustained success over the next several seasons? The quarterback situation amplifies the complexity of this discussion. Since the departure of Derek Carr, the Raiders have cycled through a series of quarterbacks without finding a stable solution. Max has seen the struggles firsthand and knows that if the team doesn't have a clear path at that position, it could affect not only his ability to win now, but also his career trajectory. A player of his caliber wants to compete for championships, and if the current roster doesn't offer that opportunity, the thought of exploring other options becomes understandable. Fans may feel conflicted about it, but from a professional standpoint, considering opportunities to compete at the highest level makes sense. The notion of a full-on rebuild is also central to this discussion. A rebuild doesn't just mean adding a few pieces here and there. It's stripping down the roster, reevaluating draft capital, and sometimes making hard decisions about players who have been cornerstones of the team. Trading Max Crosby could provide a combination of salary cap flexibility and draft assets that a head coach or general manager could use to reshape the roster around a new quarterback or a different strategic plan. This isn't about disloyalty. It's about creating a team capable of sustained success while navigating the realities of contracts, cap space, and draft positioning. Another key consideration is the comparison between draft classes. There's talk about the 2026 class versus the 2027 class, particularly in terms of quarterback prospects. If the Raiders believe that the 2027 quarterback class is stronger or more suitable for their long-term plans, it could further influence the decision-making around whether to retain or trade Max Crosby. Acquiring additional picks in a strong class could allow the team to secure a quarterback they believe in, while simultaneously reshaping the rest of the roster with assets from a potential trade. All of these variables interact in a complex equation that the front office must navigate. Now, looking specifically at Max's contract, there are some details that make a trade more feasible than one might initially think. The front-loaded structure and the distribution of guaranteed money create windows where both Max and the Raiders have options. If he were traded before certain guarantees kick in, he would likely negotiate a new contract with his new team, ensuring that he remains compensated at a level reflective of his talent. Meanwhile, the Raiders would gain cap space that could be allocated toward multiple players to address roster needs. This makes the potential trade not just a theoretical discussion, but a real possibility based on how contracts and financial planning work in the league. The timing of potential trades is also crucial. Any movement involving Max Crosby would likely happen within the pre-free agency window, where legal tampering and negotiations are most active. Teams looking to acquire him would need to act quickly, while the Raiders and Max would want to ensure that any decision maximizes both financial and competitive benefits. This adds a layer of urgency and strategy to the conversation that fans may not see from the outside. Finally, considering the team's recent performance and organizational history, a full-scale rebuild might be the most logical path to long-term success. The past few seasons have been tumultuous, with coaching changes, inconsistent quarterback play, and roster instability. Trading a high-value player like Max Crosby could provide the resources and flexibility needed to attract a head coach who can implement a cohesive plan and secure a franchise quarterback. It's not a reflection of his abilities or contributions, but rather a strategic move to ensure the Raiders are positioned for sustainable success in the coming years. Picking up from where we left off, let's dig even deeper into what the Raiders might be facing as the season closes out and what the offseason could potentially look like. The question of whether to retain Max Crosby or move forward with a rebuild is not an easy one. It's complicated by the fact that the quarterback position remains unresolved. Over the past several seasons, the Raiders have struggled to find stability under center. And while Max has given everything he has on the defensive side of the ball, football is a team sport, and one player alone cannot carry a franchise to a championship. When you're talking about building around a franchise quarterback, everything else shifts. The roster, the draft strategy, salary cap management, and even player morale all get affected. Now, consider the implications of having a high-value player like Max Crosby in a situation where there is no clear answer at quarterback. He's in the prime of his career, and every year that passes without legitimate championship contention increases the risk that he could explore opportunities elsewhere. This isn't about wanting to lose him. It's about understanding the realities that any elite player faces when evaluating their career path. For a defensive star of his caliber, the goal isn't just personal stats or accolades. It's the ability to win meaningful games, to compete for a Super Bowl, and to leave a legacy. And if the current roster doesn't provide that opportunity, even the strongest loyalty can be tested. The strategic aspect of this conversation comes down to maximizing the Raiders' flexibility. Trading Max Crosby, while difficult from an emotional standpoint, opens up multiple avenues. The team could free up significant cap space, which would allow them to address multiple holes on the roster. Draft capital from a potential trade could be used to acquire a franchise quarterback or multiple starters, giving the Raiders a foundation to rebuild around key positions. And if you think about it, this is a rare scenario where a team can reset not just one area, but the entire roster in a calculated, strategic way without having to strip down a player who is underperforming. Max Crosby performs at an elite level. He's not the issue. The circumstances are. Looking at the larger picture, the Raiders are at a crossroads. Do they chase wins in the short term, potentially limiting their draft options and long-term planning, or do they embrace a calculated rebuild, leveraging every asset, including one of their best players, to maximize future success? These are not easy decisions, and they require weighing the tangible benefits of draft picks, salary cap space, and roster flexibility against the intangible benefits of loyalty, fan sentiment, and continuity. The reality is that smart organizations have to balance both, and the silver and black leadership is undoubtedly having these conversations behind closed doors. Another layer to consider is the potential quarterback class in 2027, which many analysts and scouts suggest could be deeper and more talented than the current class. If the Raiders are eyeing a specific quarterback prospect, Acquiring additional draft capital could allow them to move up in the draft, ensuring they get the player they believe can be the long-term solution. This is a critical point because if the team is committed to finding a franchise quarterback, they need every possible tool at their disposal. Max Crosby's value, both on the field and as a trade asset, becomes central to that strategy. The decision isn't about wanting to trade him. It's about positioning the organization to make the best moves possible to secure a cornerstone player at the quarterback position. Financial considerations also play a huge role in this scenario. Max's contract has specific structures and guarantees that impact both the Raiders and any team that might pursue him. The front-loaded contract, the timing of guaranteed money, and the flexibility in the final years all create windows where a trade could be most advantageous. The organization would gain cap space that could be applied toward multiple roster needs, while Max would have the ability to negotiate a new contract that reflects his value. In the modern NFL, financial strategy and roster management are intertwined, and teams must think several moves ahead to maintain competitiveness while protecting their long-term interests. The fan's perspective adds yet another dimension. While no one wants to see a player of Max's caliber leave, the reality is that Raider fans have also been conditioned to expect tough decisions from this organization. The franchise has undergone multiple rebuilds and coaching changes, and the culture of accountability and strategy has always been a part of what it means to support the Raiders. While trading Max would be difficult emotionally, many fans understand that football decisions have to consider the long-term viability of the team, and that sometimes means making hard choices to secure the future. Let's also consider the impact on the coaching staff. Any head coach coming into the organization wants to have a roster that aligns with their philosophy and their vision for the quarterback position. By trading Max and acquiring draft capital or cap space, a new head coach can implement a system that not only fits their preferred style of play, but also maximizes the talent of the players brought in through a strategic rebuild. This could be the key to attracting the kind of leadership the Raiders need to stabilize the team and compete at the highest level over the next decade. And the timing of all these decisions is critical. Trades, draft preparations, and free agency considerations all converge in a narrow window, particularly around the new league year. For Max Crosby and the Raiders, these timelines create an intense period of strategy and negotiation. Both sides need to ensure that any decisions maximize their options, whether it's the team securing the assets they need to rebuild or Max having the ability to choose the best landing spot for his next contract. The stakes are high, and the outcome will shape the direction of the franchise for years to come. Ultimately, every element we've discussed, the quarterback situation, the draft class, the financial flexibility, the rebuild strategy, and the organizational goals, intersects at this pivotal moment. The choices made now will define the Raiders' trajectory, not just for one season, but for the future of the franchise. Max Crosby's role in that equation is significant, both as a cornerstone of the team today and as a key asset in shaping the Raiders of tomorrow. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that could send shockwaves through the league, whispers are growing louder that the Las Vegas Raiders are closing in on a deal with star wide receiver Mike Evans. If true, this would be one of the most audacious acquisitions of the season, signaling a clear intent to dominate opposing secondaries and elevate the Raiders' aerial attack to new heights. Evans, a proven deep threat with a remarkable track record, could instantly transform the team's offense, giving quarterback a legitimate weapon capable of stretching the field and creating explosive plays at will. The Raiders, long criticized for inconsistency in their passing game, seem poised to address their biggest weakness with this potential signing. Sources close to the situation hint that both sides have expressed mutual interest, fueling speculation that a high-stakes negotiation is underway. Adding Evans to a roster already rich with talent could turn Las Vegas into an elite passing powerhouse, forcing defensive coordinators across the league to rethink their game plans entirely. Evans' presence would not only boost the team's vertical attack, but could also open opportunities for other receivers, creating mismatches and making it harder for defenses to focus on just one target. Analysts are already imagining the nightmare scenarios for cornerbacks and safeties who will have to track a player of Evans' caliber. Raiders fans, notorious for their high expectations and passionate support, would surely see this as a statement signing, one that signals the franchise is serious about competing at the highest level. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the rumor alone has sparked conversations from coast to coast. Social media is buzzing with fans debating the impact Evans could have, projecting how his experience, size, and route-running prowess might finally give the Raiders the explosive edge they've long sought. If this deal materializes, it could redefine the team's offensive identity, making Las Vegas a true contender in a division packed with defensive-minded squads. For now, all eyes remain on the unfolding story. Will the Raiders pull off the signing that could reshape the league perception of their offense? If so, Mike Evans might just be the missing piece in a puzzle that has eluded the franchise for years, a game-changing addition capable of striking fear into defenses everywhere. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.